All right, what's up, beautiful people in YouTube world? I'm back with another video, and this one is going to be really fun. So, in light of the Michael Jackson biopic, a lot of people have been praising it, but a lot of people have been overly critiquing it, like breaking it down to every minute detail. While doing so, they also always bring up the 1993 bio series, The Jackson 5 American Dream. Now, for some reason, people herald this bio series as if it's so perfect, there's no flaws. But I'm gonna have a little fun with this because if you guys are gonna pick apart Jaafar's performance in the entire film, I'm going to do the same thing with the Jackson 5 American Dream because it was far from perfect. So I have my notes here. Let's get right into it. So my first note I have is Wylie Draper's performance. Although I always believed his performance was great, it wasn't perfect. I thought that as a kid, and I still think that now. First and foremost, throughout the entire, his performance, I feel like Wylie moved a little bit too aggressively. Like he was on a lot of energy drinks, or he had some firecrackers in his pants, especially the last scene when they were on the victory tour. He was like, oh shit, I already hurt my shoulder. I'm not going to do it again. But he was moving so fucking fast. And the same thing with the Billie Jean, his rendition of it, he was moving way too hard. And once again, there's another flaw with that scene is that he wore the glove on the wrong hand. Was that intentional? I don't know. Some people say that Michael Jackson did request for impersonators to wear the glove on the other hand. I read that, and that is true. But why would he do that for the biopic? Like, why would he request that for the biopic? So if that was intentional, I'll let that go. But the mannerisms were way off. More so speaking about when he was recording Human Nature, and his mouth was like, why, tell him that is human nature, why. Like, when did Michael ever move his mouth like that? So once again, if we're going to critique the Michael, how do I pronounce that wrong? It's my literal name. Michael biopic. We got to do the same thing with the miniseries. All right. And quite honestly, people keep saying that Wylie looked more like Michael than Jaafar did. Y'all not going to gaslight me today. Let's move forward. But we're not going to do that. Number two, there were so many wrong dates within this bio series that it kind of felt like they were trolling, because at any point during editing, no one said, okay, we got to change the date because why are we messing up dates here? First and foremost, in the bio series, it says that Michael was born in 1959. Can y'all Google and see what year Michael Jackson was really born? All right, let's move forward. All right, so in the flash forward, when the Jacksons were rehearsing Dancing Machine. They were rehearsing Dancing Machine in 1976. Jermaine was still in that lineup, but in real life, Jermaine had already left the group. So why is that? All right, let's move forward. Speaking of the Human Nature scene, they had Michael Jackson recording that song in 1983. All right, so let's do another Google search. What year did the Thriller album come out? Okay, 1982, right? So why is he recording a song that's already circulating? All right, bro, let's move forward. Another point, people always keep talking about the aesthetics of the actors, how much they look like the actual real life Jacksons. You're gonna tell me that young Terrence Howard looked like Jackie Jackson? You're really gonna tell me that? And quite honestly, in the miniseries, none of those actors looked like any of the Jacksons, but no one cared because you know why? They did a phenomenal job. See, my main issue is the way people are picking apart Michael's movie is that this has to be the very first and only bio series that has to be 100% accurate down to the facts, down to the look, down to the timeline. Why is it that this movie has to be 100% perfect, but no other biopic in the history of biopics has that same type of pressure on them? I don't get it, because once again, I never looked at Jason Weaver and thought he looked like Michael. He did not look like Michael, but he did a phenomenal job. But that's just my take. That's just me. Like, what are we talking about? Oh, another side fact. The Jacksons never recorded Going to Kansas City as their first single, or the single when they were before Motown. Just like in the movie, Michael movie, they actually recorded Big Boy. That was an actual real single that they recorded before being signed to Motown. I believe it was Steel Town Records. I believe, I'm going off the top of my head with that, but y'all, I know someone's going to correct me, but that was the studio that they recorded in. Well, Going to Kansas City never existed. You can Google it. There's no recording of the Jackson 5 making that song. No written statement about it. So I don't know where the fuck they pulled that from. Okay, moving forward. At the Apollo Theater, they actually performed Who's Loving You, Smokey's rendition, but that's what prompted them to actually record their version for Motown. But they did not perform Shake It Up Baby, Now Shake It Up Baby, Twist and Shout. Even though that scene was fire, that shit had me lit. But they never performed that. Alright, let's move forward. Okay, everyone's bringing up all the omitted information from the Michael biopic, the stuff that they didn't talk about. But it was the same thing with the Jackson 5 American Dream. And what's funny enough, most of the stuff that people wanted the movie to talk about comes from the Jackson 5 era. So you guys are clamoring and begging for the Michael Jackson biopic to talk about stuff that occurred during the Jackson 5 era, but they didn't even talk about it in the Jackson 5 movie. For example, Michael Jackson's first 4 solo albums wasn't talked about in neither project or movie. The same way Jackie's solo album wasn't talked about in the series. And also, Jermaine was an active solo member while simultaneously being a member of Jackson 5. And that wasn't talked about either. Oh, and another side note. That's not a side note. A main note. The Portrayal of Joe Jackson. Colman Domingos versus Lawrence Jacob Hilton's. I'm going to say this outright. I like, personally, Colman Domingo's portrayal more, because I do feel like it's more true to form. And let me break this down for y'all. So, according to Michael Jackson, he said that Joe never hugged him, never showed affection, never played with him, and never showed that he was ever proud of him. So why in the bio series we had that scene, that beautiful scene of before Michael hits the stage because he was crying, he's sad because they just got off the plane, and he goes, "You are Michael Jackson, remember who you are." That never happened. Also, before the Apollo Theater performance, Joe walks up behind Michael as Michael's like, "Wow, this is amazing. I'm in the same theater as the, performances such as Jackie Wilson and James Brown. They all have been here, all the greats, and I'm here now." And then Joe comes and hugs Michael from behind and pretty much was like, "Oh, this could be you next." Michael said that man never hugged him, and that never happened either. But y'all are cool with that, because someone actually brought up on threads to me how, like, oh, the bio series, Joe, he had a softer side. He was more balanced. The one in the movie, he was just a straight up menace. So you guys are fine with Joe having a soft side in this bio series, even if it's fake, even if it didn't happen. You guys are cool with that. But y'all don't like the fact that there are some inaccuracies in the Michael movie. Like, once again, it's inconsistent. And another thing about y'all criticism about the Joe Jackson is that itself is inconsistent. Half of you are saying that Joe is watered down. Like, oh, the real Joe was just a brutal menace. While some of you are saying he was a little bit too much of a menace. So which one is it? Which one is it? To me, I felt like there were so many moments that they could have showed Joe being a monster, but they didn't. But the times where fear needed to be instilled, they did it. And I feel like the way they constructed his character was damn near perfect, because to me, I've said it before, most abusers aren't just fucking rampaging through everybody and beating everybody up all day. And that's what y'all expected. Y'all expected this Joe to really just be beating up on everybody all the time, where legit real abusers are more systematic with their abuse. They know how to break people down either with charm, humor, charisma, or just projection. So as you can see throughout the film, Michael was legit, even as an adult, afraid of his dad without his dad having to beat him all the time, because the threat of getting beaten or the threat of disappointing his dad was always present. He didn't have to, Joe didn't have to even say anything half the time in this movie to actually be feared. Like, it was actually insane. So take that however you will, unless you guys want to call Michael Jackson a liar and say that the Bio series was more accurate, go for it. That's crazy if you want to do that. But then, just like in the movie and the Bio series, Janet wasn't there. Well, Janet was in the Bio series, but she was a fucking baby in a booster seat for a half of a second, and Catherine was like, "Oh, hey, Janet," or some shit like that, and that was it. And that's funny, because that pleased y'all enough for y'all not to ever complain about the lack of Janet and the entire family's Bio series. Once again, even though the focus was the Jackson 5, the story itself actually started with Joe and Catherine. So if they really wanted to, they could have had more Rebe, they could have had more LaToya, and they could have had more Janet, but they didn't. And ironically enough, just like in the Michael Jackson movie, there was a sample size of LaToya, and y'all don't really give a fuck. I don't get why you guys don't care about LaToya so much that she was portrayed in both projects and no one's moving for it at all. And just like both, Rebe isn't there. Well, Rebe was in the Bio series a little bit. Well, she did have a decent role, but no one cared. Just like no one cared that Rebe's in this movie. Like, I don't know. It's like, why is Janet the only sister y'all really care about? And to me, with stuff like that, I don't even really give a damn if they're not in the movie. I just use my imagination and say that, oh, well, Rebe isn't there. Maybe she was at work or something. She is the oldest. Maybe she's in the room taking care of Janet. So, because she was like the second mother of the family at the time. So that's how my imagination works. I know that they're there. They don't have to be shown. I don't really care, because what are they going to do? All right. This might be my last and final point, unless something else comes up, because that's how my brain works. The burn incident. Now, why in the miniseries they had Michael, doing his little thing, dancing, boom, 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 pyrotechnics going off, when little spark hits his hair and he's tumbling down the stairs? Why in the Bio series he tumbled down the stairs? It did not happen like that at all. And I remember watching the real life footage when I was like 12 and I saw it on YouTube, and I was like really shocked, because it's nothing like that. Actually, the way the Michael biopic handled it, that's exactly how it went down. He danced, sparked boom, big ass flame in his hair. He seemed to not really realize it until he got to the bottom of the stairs, did a real quick spin. Like, that shit, if you've never seen the real footage, it's kind of haunting, because the way he did it, he did his little move, then he felt it, then he did a little spin, and the flame kind of went out, but he still felt that, like, that aftershock of the flame, and he started going, and he went to the ground, and people went to his aid to help him out. That's exactly how it happened. He never tumbled down the stairs. Why did they do that? I don't know. So the whole point of this video is, if you guys are going to nitpick one thing, make sure you nitpick the other, because there are a lot of inaccuracies. Even with the glove always bothered me. It was always on the wrong hand. Once again, it could have been on purpose, because Michael did request impersonators to have their glove on the opposite hand before a biopic. Why would he do that? I don't know. So you guys glaze the fact that, oh, well, all the Jacksons were involved with the film. They handpicked the actors, they approved the director, they approved the entire script. That doesn't negate the fact that there were a lot of inaccuracies, because at the end of the day, Hollywood is going to do what they're going to do, and that is what they want to do. So half the time they don't care about the accuracy of things, they just care about the drama of it all. So If I missed any inaccuracies, please let me know, because this was fun to do. But this is stuff that always like stuck out to me even when I was younger. Oh, another thing that always stuck out to me, once again, it popped up in my head. The choreography. A lot of the choreography in the miniseries was completely different from the real life choreography. I don't know why they did that, especially the I Want to Be Where You Are performance. Now, side note, I always did love the choreography for the I Want to Be Where You Are in the miniseries way more than real life. So I ain't complaining. But I don't know why they did it like that. I don't know. But no one complains about that. And that's an inaccuracy. But y'all just let it slide, because Michael Peters did the entire choreography. So it's cool, right? Yeah. But that's all I have, except for if you are watching this and love romance novels, check out my romance novel, I Want to Be Where You Are. It is a beautiful love story based on the true story of me and my wife and how we met. And I can admit it's 75% accurate and 25% of it is dramatized. But it's beautiful. It's fun. It's lighthearted, but it's also very raw. It has very serious and intentional moments in it. It's also about two authors who find each other through social media by a very, very strong, like a stroke of luck. Like, mind you, in real life, it literally happened like this. If one thing went differently, I never probably would have met my wife in the capacity that I met her. So it's a beautiful love story. It's about two people who are trying to heal from past relationships, growing from past relationships, and on their own personal journeys while actually finding each other in this long distance interracial romance. I'm so terrible when it comes to talking about my own book. But yeah, man, it's out right now. I would appreciate if you would check it out. I Want to Be Where You Are by Michael Tavon. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.